Most producers spend hours on their kick and bass, but when it comes to textures and atmospheres, they just slap on some preset pad and call it a day. After working with over 400 producers, helping them finish music they're actually proud of, I know that this is one of the biggest reasons why amateur tracks never sound as full and rich as the reference tracks. So in this video, I'm going to show you the exact technique I use to create evolving, immersive sounding textures that live and breathe just using the stock tools enabled in Live. So for this, we're going to use the Wavetable synth. You could also use Serum 2 or Vital, whatever you have access to. I have programmed some MIDI notes here. This is what it sounds like currently. This patch is obviously just a sine wave right now, and we're going to turn this into an immersive, rich-sounding texture that evolves. Now, one of the biggest issues producers run into when trying to come up with these texture sounds is that it always sounds a bit too clean, a bit too synthetic. I had the same problem when I started producing electronic music. I thought that I had to synthesize everything. Now, at some point, I discovered that I could actually layer something synthetic with something that is like a field recording or something that is more organic sounding. And that was a real breakthrough because from the get-go, it gave me like a different feeling. So let's do that without even touching the Wavetable patch. We'll just throw in some atmosphere sound that is coming from a real-life recording. So here's a long sample of some rain sound. Now, to make the sound even more immersive, we're going to use a grain delay. And after the grain delay, we're going to put a hybrid reverb. We're going to select something that is like a bigger space or textures for the convolution side of things. And here on the algorithmic side, we're going to use the dark hall or the shimmer, so stuff like that. Let's make it even bigger here. Then you can play around with the frequency of the grain delay and you try to come up with something that is like a slightly different color of the original ambience. So I have to make sure that it's not 100% wet, but actually a blend of the two. Basically play around with the frequency and pitch, and then later on also with the spray. And the goal of this is to create something that is a bit more immersive, so as if the raindrops were kind of swirling around you. I could also increase the feedback a little bit to get even more of that feeling going. I'll just solo this for a moment. And then randomizing the pitch. Each repeat is going to have a slightly different pitch. Very nice. And so we have some of that ambience from the rain. We have still tonal quality from our Wavetable patch. And now we can move into designing that Wavetable patch so it sounds much more organic and breathing and immersive. So that's the first takeaway. You always try to layer something synthetic with something organic sounding because the blend of the two will give you an even better atmosphere in the end. Now in Wavetable, the big question is, what do you do strategically? What type of sound do you even want to create? Now with our MIDI notes, we have some tonal quality because it's not just one note, it's actually one fundamental and then some notes on top that are changing, which create like an overall melancholic feeling. This is what I want to express with this specific pad. Now you have to ask yourself, okay, how much tonal quality do I want to have in my Wavetable patch versus how much grit and distortion and so on do I want? And what I like to do is I like to give both oscillators, the first and the second, different jobs basically. So the first oscillator, I will give the job of preserving the tonal quality, and the second oscillator, I will give the job of creating like the noise texture layer. For the first one, we already have tonal quality. We'll change this later on, don't worry. For the second one, we will now go for something that's like a little bit more distorted. This is obviously still very resonant and also very tonal, but you can change this super easily by going here into the FM settings and then frequency modulate that second oscillator. So let's just try this out. We're going to tune this up. Now, this is some really nice distortion and grit. Don't worry, it's still too aggressive. We're going to change this now. So the first thing we'll do is we're going to spread this out a bit. So we're going to the unison setting and we're going to select the noise unison. So this is basically, if I understood this correctly, it's adding a little bit of randomized noise to both sides, so the different voices inside the synth. This will help it spread it out in the stereo spectrum because the left with the right channel information sounds different then. We're going to put a little bit of hybrid reverb after that as well. Now with this one, I will basically just use the algorithm, so just the right side here. And let's go for shimmer this time. A longer decay, like a really big room. I will actually pitch the shimmer down instead of up, which means it's going to create like a reverb that is pitched down. I really like that wash. Can then set this vintage setting to something like older or extreme or old. There's a little bit too much of that noise sound, so I'll just bring this down a bit. So, and now the big question is, what do we do so that there's not like always this note hitting? This is where you dial in the amp envelope to be a bit smoother. So with these type of textured sounds, it's always a good idea to have a little bit of an attack time so that this is sweeping in. Then you keep this relatively straight, which takes away some of the pluckiness of the sound. And then you also increase the release time a little bit so that the notes ring out and then one note flows into the other a little bit. So let's check this out. Add the second layer. And let's hear it with the beat. This is not done yet, but it already gives you a really good idea. We've layered the synthetic sound with a natural ambience, and now what we did is we had inside that synthetic sound in wavetable one oscillator taking the job of preserving the tonal qualities of the melodies and harmonies that we want to play, and the second oscillator introducing the grit and distortion that we want. Now this atmosphere so far is a good starting point, but it's still light years away from what it could be. And so the big missing piece that's missing right now is the modulation that actually helps the sound evolve and unfold over a longer period of time, where the listener cannot get enough of that sound. And this is exactly what I'll show you how to create. Now, before we get to this, if you struggle with finishing music consistently, then I have a free gift for you. It's called the Finisher Framework. These are my 3 simple steps that you can use to finish at least one great sounding song per month. This is my goal for you. It's totally realistic. A lot of people have taken this to one song a week even. You can get it at pickyourself.com/framework. The link is also in the description. So how do we now get this evolving sound? I will show you a super effective technique, and I actually stole this from my Eurorack system there. There is a module called Oct, which is basically a multi-LFO, and the LFOs are synced in a really interesting way. Like, they're not traditionally synced, they're just musically tuned, so they evolve in different ways. We're going to mimic some of that functionality inside Ableton Live, and you can also do this with any other synth that has LFOs. So let's grab a few LFOs. We're going to put all of them here in this effects rack, and what you have to do now is you bring down the rate, and you always stay in hertz. You never use something that is synced to the tempo. This is really important. You just use free floating LFOs. You use one of them being like really slow, one of them a little bit faster, like roughly twice as fast, then the next one once again a little bit faster, next one once again a little bit faster. So you have these different LFOs here at different speeds, and now what you can do is you can now map these free floating LFOs to different parameters inside your synth. So for example, I will pick for the oscillator 1 a slightly different shape, maybe something that's like a little bit more immersive sounding. So this harmonic series, for example, creates overtones, so it's a bit of that glassy textured feeling. So we'll map the first LFO to the wavetable position here. And you will see that this is now ebbing and flowing with the LFO. I will still make this much slower. And also I will make the LFO unipolar, so it's just moving in one direction and then back. Great. So the second LFO, we'll keep this in bipolar, so it's moving in both directions, and we will map this to the wavetable position of the second one here. And we will also map the third one to the tuning of the FM. All right, since we made the first LFO really slow, I think we also have to put the other ones down a little bit. And like, there's no right or wrong with these settings. And here, this third one, we can use this, for example, to modulate the frequency here. Just keep this in negative here so that the filter is just sweeping down and only a tiny bit, so we don't want too much of filter movement here. You were probably wondering, why am I not just using the LFOs here in the main matrix? And that's a really good question. So first of all, we just have 2 LFOs here, and for this technique to work you need more. And then the second thing is there's something really cool you can now do with those here. So first of all, you could group them into a rack and just use that in various ways, create macros and so on. And I think this is a very convenient way of later on automating things. But one of my favorite techniques is actually to then modulate those LFOs to run differently. And that is something where it just becomes messy when you do it in here in this like main matrix. I find it lacks overview, it lacks structure. And here this is just much more visible. So I will create another LFO tool, and this is going to be my master LFO that will influence the other LFOs. So I will set this, first of all, not to sine wave. I will set this to something like stray. So as you can see, this is like fluctuating in a bit more of a random, unpredictable way. Make this much slower. And we will use this LFO to modulate the rate of the other LFOs. And what it will do is we'll speed the other LFOs up and down, so it makes it even more unpredictable and immersive sounding. Bring the depth down. So we just want these like tiny flutters. We're almost there. There's just one layer missing that will bring all of this together. We will group those two. And on this texture group, we will add a glue compressor. It will bring those two textures, the natural one and the synthetic one, even closer together. It will bring up some of the subtle noises in the sound. Typically, if you compress drums with a glue compressor, you would use like a slower attack time to preserve some of the transients, to make it sound snappy and alive. Here we want the opposite. We want to really squeeze the sound and bring up those subtle nuances. We'll make a longer release time. We can use this automatic setting, and then we will keep the ratio at 4:1, which is also relatively extreme. We might also test out 10:1. And now at this point, you can push the sound into different directions, for example, by using a bit of distortion. We'll use the saturator, we'll go into the wave shaper and just see what happens if we push this a little bit. We could try out something like the phaser flanger. Maybe erosion. Don't forget that also here, the LFO tool is your best friend. You can, for example, modulate the frequency on the erosion, map it to the dry, for example, of the phaser flanger, and also a little bit to the drive here of the wave shaper. We're going to use just a tiny bit of modulation. It's just about creating a little bit of movement and texture in here. This is still relatively extreme in terms of the settings, for just to show you what's possible here. And also, I would probably make the texture a little bit quieter. You can always group these effects, and then inside that group you create 2 chains, one of them without these tools, one of them with these tools, and then you control the blend. And overall, that channel is still quite loud. So let's just bring this in. Probably I would not make it louder than that because there's a lead sound going to be on top of that later on, maybe different bass. And obviously you can create a little bit of a ducking effect. If you go to the glue compressor and you activate the sidechain, you can use an external sidechain from the kick, and then every time the kick hits, this channel will be ducked down. If you want more control than that, this is actually my preferred method, is to use something like shaper box. You could also do this inside Ableton, but I know that a lot of people are using a shaper box, so I'll just do that. And you basically use the volume shaper to duck this down. Let's go to quarter notes, which is when the kick drum's hitting. Now you know exactly how to create great sounding immersive textures, but that alone is not enough to finish a complete track. So make sure to watch this video next to learn my exact method for arranging tracks without getting stuck.